This video proudly sponsored by the Magic Candle Company. Head over to the link in the description down below, the one down there, and use offer code OFFHAND15 for 15% off your entire purchase if you want your house to smell like the Haunted Mansion. Who doesn't?
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
Disneyland is the original. You can't get it anywhere else in the world. It's Walt Disney's original stomping ground with the Disneyland Railroad, great moments with Mr. Lincoln, and of course, everyone's favorite, the Storybook Land Canal Boats! Woo! Seriously, they're fantastic. When you get the chance, ride them. Meanwhile, hop across the nation and Walt Disney World is an imitator. It's second best. It's bigger, but it's not necessarily better. I'm kidding, by the way. Disney World and Disneyland both offer different things for different people. All-inclusive vacations and watercraft and resorts, that's gonna be more Disney World Magic Kingdom vibes. But nostalgia, history, and thrills when it comes to rides like Snow White's Scary Adventure, Snow White's Enchanted Wish, that's gonna be Disneyland. But over the years, some pieces of Disneyland history have made the trip across the United States to Walt Disney World to be put on display in museums and exhibits, hidden within different rides, or maybe just packed away forever. And so today I wanted to walk you all through some pieces of Disneyland history, the original Magic Kingdom in Anaheim, California, that ended up, for one reason or another, at Disney World in Orlando, Florida. The 1964 New York World's Fair marked a monumental occasion for the Walt Disney Company, or Walt Disney Productions, or just the Disney Studio at that point, because it was the public debut of lifelike, life-size human audio animatronics. Now, the public had seen animatronics beforehand at Walt Disney's Enchanted Tiki Room at Disneyland, but this was on an entirely different level. These weren't the posable figurines from the Fantasyland dark rides, or the squawking tiki birds that would sometimes shift and open their beaks. These were moving and lifelike cavemen and dinosaurs and families from certain periods in the 1900s. But most importantly, the headline Disney attraction in Walt's head for the New York World's Fair was Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln, where a meticulously sculpted and programmed audio animatronic of our 16th president would stand and deliver an address. Now, the World's Fair for Walt was a way to develop attractions and technology for Disneyland without having to pay for it. The sponsors of the pavilion would take care of that. This created a very Disney Sea-like atmosphere where Imagineers were allowed to let their creativity run wild because they didn't have to pay for it. And after the World's Fair was over in 1965, Walt suggested that, hey, why don't we not tear down all these attractions that you all spent so much money on and instead bring them over to Disneyland so we can have more people see them. And the sponsors, not being ones to turn down an attraction at Disneyland, gladly agreed. Except for the Magic Skyway, that one moved over in pieces. And so, in July of that year, the Opera House in Main Street, USA was now the home to Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln, where it remains to this very day. Sort of. After some changes over the years, the show that they play at Main Street today is very similar to the 1964 one with some added flair from Epcot. Two Brothers, the Golden Dream song, that's all from Epcot. But the script remains the same from 1964. One of the things that is not the same though is the Lincoln animatronic, believe it or not, is not the original from the World's Fair. Now, a lot of people may know this, but some may not. The Lincoln figure that sits on Main Street today is actually an electric audio animatronic. More fluid motions, a more detailed face and facial expressions, it all lends to the illusion of a more lifelike Lincoln. Say that 10 times fast. The original Lincoln from 1964 was thought to have been lost after the entire pavilion was demolished after the fair. But as luck would have it, without anybody knowing, apparently, it was put into a crate and shipped back to California to the Disney Studios, where he sat undiscovered, alone in a warehouse for many, many years, just waiting for the day to be rediscovered. And eventually he was. Now, instead of moving this priceless piece of Disney history to the archives, they decided why not move it across the nation again to Florida this time. And now, today, if you were to venture into Disney's Hollywood studios, back past Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway into Walt Disney One Man's Dream. Now, this is easily the best attraction in the entire park. Yes, better than Rise of the Resistance, because this one has the original 1964 Lincoln animatronic And he's naked. Just look at him. It feels wrong to be looking at this. But you can see him standing right there, right in front of you, just within arm's reach behind a panel of glass, obviously. But also standing right next to him on the left is a model of the Tower of the Four Winds, which was made by Rolly Crump to stand in front of the Small World Pavilion. Just a bunch of World's Fair history right within that little 5-foot radius. And I highly recommend to any Disneyland or Disney history buff in general, you need to go look at this animatronic and these models, because this is a piece of not only Disneyland history, but of Disney history. The first lifelike, fully moving, mind-blowing, world's-faring animatronic. And people just walk past him all the time on their way to get back to Muppet Vision. How dare they? And there are many other pieces of Disney history there as well, like the Dancing Man, which is the first proof of concept for an animatronic made by Disney, as well as scale models of Disneyland and Paradise Pier at California Adventure. So many things to look at. And if you like miniatures, bam, Granny's Cabin. Hand-built by Walt Disney himself. Need I say more? One Man's Dream, Lincoln, Tower of the Four Winds. Let's move on. Okay, now here's a question for the class. Class, what was the original inspiration for Walt Disney to build Disneyland in the first place? Say it out loud. Go ahead. You're right, it was the Carolwood Pacific Railroad, a mini, teeny, tiny railroad Walt Disney had in his backyard in Los Angeles. But Walt Disney didn't dream teeny, tiny, he dreamt really big, and he wanted a bigger, almost life-size railroad to ride around whenever he dang felt like it. Dang it. And so he came up with the idea for Mickey Mouse Park at the studios, which got bigger and bigger before it became Disneyland, and we all know the rest. But without the Carolwood Pacific, and by extension the Disneyland Railroad, Walt's passion for Disneyland might not have been as big as it was. Yes, he wanted a place for parents and children to have fun together. That's what the carousel was for. That's what the Storybookland canal boats, by the way, talk about party boat, head over to Storybookland right now and ride Storybookland canal boats. The Kaiser Aluminum Hall of Fame, that was for people. That was for the public to come and enjoy. The Disneyland Railroad, that was for Walt to enjoy. Not to say that guests couldn't ride it, but it was his passion project. And today, if you know where to look, you can find a car from the original Carolwood Pacific Railroad in Walt Disney's backyard, not in a park at Walt Disney World, but instead at a resort. If it's the middle of the day and you're sweating looking for somewhere to get out of the heat, catch the boat, if you can, from the Magic Kingdom to Disney's Wilderness Lodge. And when you arrive, ask a cast member or just follow the signs to the Boulder Ridge Villas, and more specifically to the Carolwood Pacific Railroad Room. They have an entire room named after it. Now, it's not a bar, it's more of just a seating area where you can sit down and just think or look around at all the amazing artifacts that surround you. Pictures of Walt Disney in his backyard, original film strips from those pictures, and of course the centerpiece, 2 cars from the Carolwood Pacific. As you can see in this footage, filmed by the Disney World addicts, there are many things you can look at while you relax. And I think it's safe to say that without these 2 cars, and of course the rest of them, that Disneyland probably wouldn't have developed, or at least not the same way that we know it today. So the next time you're in the area, or you know someone with DVC, just head over there, sit down, take a load off, watch this video in the Carolwood Pacific room, send me some proof too, I want to see it, and ponder and think about the Disney history that's sitting literally right in front of you, the genesis of Disneyland and Disney parks globally. I meant to stop by last time I was in Orlando, but I forgot! I forgot to go to the Carolwood room, the one place I wanted to go! Next time though, next time, I'm gonna see that train. Mark my words, that train will grace these eyes. But now for the last piece of Disneyland history that you can find in Orlando for whatever reason. It's common knowledge, everybody, that all roads lead to the World's Fair, and this is no different. We've already talked about Lincoln and Ford's Magic Skyway, but now we're going to talk about another attraction that was present. This one, the Carousel of Progress. Sitting under a large flattened dome at the New York World's Fair under the name Progress Land was a brand new attraction made, yes, by Walt Disney called the Carousel of Progress. Now the ride as we know it today has different characters, different voice actors, different scenes, and a different script, but back in the day they used official GE products because the pavilion was sponsored by GE, or General Electric. It's like walking onto Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout, sponsored by Kraft Foods, and Drax is just eating a bowl of mac and cheese right there as you walk past. You have to have product placement within your ride to appease the sponsors, and that's what Disney did. Various appliances made by GE throughout the years were present in each of the show scenes, like a vacuum that you can see in the 1920s with the logo right down toward the bottom, or a refrigerator that holds more food than ice cubes in the 1940s scene with the General Electric logo plastered right on the front there. And yes, these are remnants from the original World's Fair, or at least the original Carousel of Progress when it was sponsored by General Electric back at Disneyland. Of course though, when GE ended up dropping their sponsorship, Disney removed most of the products from the show. Most of them. One of the last pieces from the GE sponsorship, of course, ended up being changed with a ride update. This time with the round GE medallion logo in the very first scene, or like the introduction scene, I guess it would be, was changed into a gear with the logo of Walt Disney's Carousel of Progress on it. That was roughly the same size and shape. Of course, just like everything else on the ride, the animatronics changed along with it. Though there is one that I am positive is a remnant of Disneyland, if not the World's Fair, and that's Uncle Orville, then known as Cousin Orville, who is now in the bathroom, taking a nice, relaxing soak in the bathtub with his homemade AC unit right next to him.
No privacy at all around this place.
Sorry, Orville. So, from Walt Disney's original Magic Kingdom to the Vacation Kingdom of the world, some remnants of Disneyland make their way across the country and are still enjoyed by guests to this day. I'm wondering though if there are more GE products in the Carousel of Progress that I haven't noticed yet. If I'm missing any, please let me know. I'd love to find out. So while the closest we can physically get to Disneyland while we're staying at Walt Disney World is to go to the Animal Kingdom Lodge, we can also visit these classic attractions and exhibits to see pieces or props of original attractions from Anaheim. So if Disneyland is ever closed and you want to experience some Disneyland nostalgia, now you know where to go at Walt Disney World. Just saying, throwing that out there. But now we all know about the remnants of Disneyland that we can find at Disney World. What about some artifacts from Walt Disney World that we can find at Disneyland? You know, I'm glad you asked. I looked into it and they are very few and far between, if any. I remember in the lobby of Club 33 that there was some opening day Polynesian resort memorabilia, but other than that, it's very hard to find. And if you guys find any artifacts of Disney World at Disneyland, be sure to tweet at me at OffhandDisney. But until then, we'll have to live with Mr. Lincoln, a Carrollwood Pacific Railroad car, and a vacuum cleaner and a fridge from Anaheim, California, where the magic originally began. Hello everybody, that was my video on things from Disneyland that eventually found their way over to Disney World, and now you can look at them. Isn't that great? If you are interested in supporting the channel in any way, head over to my Patreon linked in the description down below, and even just $1 gets you access to most of the perks I mentioned in the main video, but you can also follow me on Twitter at OffhandDisney, and don't forget about mine and Disney Dan's podcast, Foolish Mortals, a Haunted Mansion podcast, where I go through the history of the Haunted Mansion, telling them to Dan and getting his reactions on certain weird things that you may not know about the Haunted Mansion. I even learned some things. Don't worry guys, don't worry. I will also link that in the description. It's right down there. See? There it is. And of course, I have to thank the sponsor of this video, the Magic Candle Company. Visit themagiccandlecompany.com, use offer code OFFHAND15, you get your 15% off your whole purchase. But did you guys know that they have hand soap now? And especially in these times, it's important to keep your hands clean. And what better way to be excited about washing your hands than having them smell like the Haunted Mansion? And I know I want my hands to smell like the Haunted Mansion. It's like keeping a little piece of the ride around with you wherever you go throughout the day. So head over to the link in the description down below and shop to your heart's content using offer code OFFHAND15. But that will be it for the end card today, everybody. Thank you all so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video, which definitely will not be Disney World artifacts at Disneyland. Okay? Don't get your hopes up. Goodbye.